What's that?
Oh, I was just saying thank you
go.
everyone for being here. Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
I'm going to jump in. Hello, everybody. I'm not sure if you can see me or not. I'm pretty sure you can see our graphic, and so that's the most important part. But I am Nancy Hughes. I'm the Executive Director of the California Urban Forest Council, and welcome. Thank you for giving us an hour of your precious evening. But we're really excited to bring all of you together in addressing this amazing statewide project that you are all contributing to, addressing enhancing quality of life in communities and climate change and other important issues of our time. So you can see across this slide, there's CAL FIRE and the California Climate Investments. Both are agencies at the state of California that have funded this project through essentially cap and trade dollars. And then you can see our partners, Western Chapter, the Britain Fund, and West Coast Arborist, Taylor Guitar, and Invest from the Ground Up is California Urban Forest Council as well. So thank you for being here. We're gonna try and make this quick for you, okay? Whoops. See if we can move forward here. One moment. Great. I'm gonna have to start again, guys, sorry. Now let's see, there we go. So welcome to Amplify's Community Leader Training event. And as I said, I'm Nancy Hughes, and with me this evening are the amazing Lizette Rios and Linda Mendez. They are the grant coordinators for Amplifying the Urban Forest. And also Sarah Madsen and Claire Torza from Trepepe Smith Marketing, who are really taking this program to the next level and will be very supportive of your community groups and the messaging that will take place as we get close. So the subjects that we're highlighting tonight, and just so you know, we're keeping this higher level. Details are coming. You will have more from week to week through things that we'll share and send, and there are the upcoming California Tree Team workshops, which we will touch base on a bit today. And throughout that, we'll talk about planning for Planting Day, volunteer recruitment, community support, the ever-present COVID-19, Trepepe and their marketing and public relations, Taylor Guitar and the work that they're doing with Urban Wood, and then very specifically Planting Day and some of the things that will be happening then. And finally, the team support that you're already getting, but that will amplify as we move forward over the next several weeks. Okay, take it away, team.
Thank you, Nancy. Hi, everyone. So we wanted to show this slide. This is all of the partner cities for this project. If you look across, this is really touching all over California. We have some amazing cities, and we tried to focus cities that were in a real need of increasing the tree canopy and making it a diverse partnership across the state. So you take a look there, you see some of your partner cities. Next slide. And these are the list of community groups. Sorry? You're good, Nancy.
I say, can you see it?
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
This slide here shows all of the community groups that are partnering with each of the cities. So if you take a look, this is a really diverse list. We have ROTC, we have youth camps, Boy Scouts of America, churches, alliances that work with trees. It's a really diverse mix of groups, and so that's what we wanted it to be, really community-based, getting the word out. And this is very important for the workshop itself. We want to make sure that a wide range of people are getting the education for the urban forestry. Next slide. And so on the topic of the workshops will be coming up in the next few weeks. All of you are sharing the same goals. So you'll be in these workshops, you'll be learning about the urban tree research that is at the heart of this project, especially with the underutilized species and Dr. Matt Ritter's research, and why these are important, as Nancy spoke to, for a changing climate and mitigating those changes for your city and what that means. The trees have a remarkable contribution, anything from mental health to increasing property value to beautifying the city. Of course, the environmental impacts, we're going to touch on that as well. We're going to focus on the right tree, right place for the right reasons. This is where the species that you've chosen specifically for your region come in, down to the common species and why those were chosen. And of course, how to plant and care for the trees the day that we're planting them and for future generations. We really want this to be a community-centric engagement and have these trees providing their benefits for many generations to come. We'll also be touching on volunteer recruitment and online registration. This is really important for many reasons. As Nancy mentioned, COVID, the impacts. We want to capture the registration. We want to make sure everyone is safe. We want to have a wide range of attendees, children, adults, and we just want to make sure that everyone has the waiver, and Nancy will speak to that in a moment. And also, very exciting, we've partnered with Taylor Guitars. There will be a contest, which Linda will speak to later on in the presentation. So for everyone who is registered and attends the Arbor Days and the workshops, they'll be entered into a drawing to win a guitar. And then, of course, we'll also speak to community and sponsoring support in the workshops and introduce your group to the community if they're not familiar with your group already. How to manage the planting day event, the logistics, especially as we're spread across 30 cities and many different groups. Some of you have never planted a tree before, so we really want to set you up for success, and we will be touching on that. And of course, we will have certified arborists from the Western Chapter ISA joining us, giving us tips and tricks on how to make sure that these trees last for a very long time, and much more will be covered in those workshops. So we really encourage as much signups and engagement as possible. Next slide. So the next couple of slides will show some of previous events that we've put on and just signage and what it looks like to host the event and what we're really aiming towards. This one, I believe Nancy mentioned, was a few years ago. It was done by, I believe, elementary school kids getting ready for the tree planting. So we want to engage as many people as possible and get them excited for this. It's a really great project. Like I said, 30 cities, 2,000 trees. So we really want to get the word out there. And then, as you'll see, these are some of the other events. The turnout is amazing on some of these, and it's really, for community members, people who live in the area, who don't live in the area, just to come and talk about trees, to get excited about their community, especially with COVID, we've been isolated from each other for almost 2 years now, and so this is a really good time to get back together and bring back, the sense of community that I think everybody is really, really wanting. If you'll see on the top right, we have tree tags, which we're working on. Providing for you the day of the planting, so you can do a dedication, you can have your name. The goal is in the future you'll have that tag, you can see it like, hey, I planted that tree. And so just something fun that this is your community, you're planting trees, and this is the impact that you will have. And over to you, Nancy.
Oh, this is Linda.
Oh, Linda, sorry.
Yes, so I was trying to fix the chat. I'm sorry that it's not available for all of you, but I think we can use the questions portion or section of this webinar to post any introductions and questions, of course. So thank you, Lisette and Nancy. So in our meetings and in our that me and Lisette host, we have been going over the run of the show, right? So the planning and having a sample agenda and the management for the day of. So for the tree delivery and the staging, to start out in the morning, and I know each one of you and each organization and city, sometimes you all have your own logistics, your experience, and you have your way about going things. So the tree delivery will happen a couple days before, and we'll all be in touch with you, me and Lisette, on the details of that. Tree staging, and then with the volunteer sign-in, we hope that will be done also, as we have spoken before, online, so then we can throw in there the waivers for liability for everyone involved. And then with that, we would like someone to play guitar, right? So with one of our partners being Taylor Guitars, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, it would be nice to have a volunteer bring that ambience and that part of the partnership to each location. And then as we go into more in the welcome, we have our special invites and our speakers. As some of you already have great relationships with the cities. And then for you of you that are here with the city, then, getting as many city officials there, have it a really good community event, and then show that we are all, there for community engagement on the city aspect, on the community group aspect, on the resident aspect. We will have CAL FIRE invitees on some locations, depending on where you are throughout the state. So we will see if we can get some out there to some of your cities. And then if not, we will mention, of course, the significance of CAL FIRE and how we did this project on their behalf as well. The Amplify representatives will be ourselves. And although we won't be there in person at all of the 30 events, we will have someone from our team from West Coast Arborists be there and then give that representation. The Western Chapter ISA will also be there, give those arborists a highlight for their support and for helping these events and being a leader as well, and then helping the volunteers for the tree planting. And then we will continue with the volunteer coordination and briefing, and then the tree planting demonstration, and then the tree planting. So as we've been discussing in our meetings, Lisette and I, due to COVID, some of these things might change last minute, and we will keep each other updated. If you all have anything that your cities have already put in place, you can always let Lisette and I know at any time, and then we can move forward and see how the in-person events, how they will roll out. So we're all in this, and the most important thing is safety. So if things get canceled and postponed, we will manage, and we'll see how we can move forward with getting the trees in the ground, right? So yeah, that's a little bit of the run of the show, and if there's anything on that, you all can reach out to Lisette and I.
Okay. Nancy's back. So I just wanted to say something I forgot at the beginning. We are recording this, and it will be on the California Urban Forest Council website, the Invest from the Ground Up landing page for Amplify. So in the next week, it should be there. If you want to share it, it would be good. And if you need it for reference, it'll be there as well. So you as community groups, and honestly, I assume that you already to a great extent know this, but to be helpful, we wanted to say, if you're not accustomed to going out into your community, this is a good way to do it. So you have your members of a city or town neighborhoods and populations, and people. And so in your neighborhoods, of course, is the most important. Where the trees are going is crucially important to reach out to those community members, residents who live there and work and play there. But you can either through Zoom or telephone calls or meetings speak to the community groups. A really wonderful thing is going around to local businesses and see if they'll allow you to hang the flyer in their in their windows, grocery stores, barbershops, etc. Literally going door to door in your neighborhoods and leaving flyers in schools and libraries and ways to get the message out about this wonderful thing that you're creating for March 12th. And then another thing that is absolutely cool, community businesses, large and small, like to get involved. They like to donate. They like to sponsor in some way the success of these events. And it always is amazing to me how many show up and are really interested in contributing. Now, once again, we're going to just repeat it over and over. COVID could impact this, hopefully not. And yet we might not be able to have pizza and donuts. So these are things that we'll be having to determine as we get closer. But, of course, hold a neighborhood meeting if you can. set it up in your backyard or your front yard or outside at a community center. Reach out to the local businesses and see if they want to help support the comfort and happiness of your volunteers. Go to Home Depot, etc. Home Depot in the past has donated shovels and hammers and gloves and buckets and all kinds of things to help your local event be successful. Don't be shy. They want to be part of these community contributions. And then, of course, work with your city partner, work with them to make sure that you're all on the same page for the day of and that you have the things that you need to support the success of the event. And, I wrote what else because I imagine you have many, many good ideas right there in your community that I don't know about, probably would like to. So create a great event and then ultimately celebrate what you've created because of this contribution that you're making to your neighborhoods and to the state of California. Oh, and incidentally, we do have forms for donations. So say the bagel shop wants to have something that acknowledges their donation, we can help you with that. So don't worry about that. And then I popped this little same little graphic with the community groups here. So you can kind of use the same methodology with businesses as well as residents. Okay, and so here is COVID, the moving target. We used these protocols last spring in Novato, California, which is in Marin County. And it happened to be a beautiful day, sunny and lovely, and the volunteers were so happy to be outside. But we did have to kind of set out some rules, and everyone was really cooperative. It was a successful event, and I think we all together will make these determinations as we get closer, because we just don't know. Okay, so Lizette, you're introducing Trepepe, right? Whoops.
No, I'm going in there. So
let me get it.
We had a little.
Here we go.
Yeah. So now we'll have Claire from Trepepe Smith, who is a lot of the times behind the scenes from all this planning that we do with everyone else. So I
just want to test my mic to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, great, because I couldn't figure out why my video is not turning on, so I apologize. Usually appreciate a good face-to-face, but I mean, on the next slide, you can see my face. But anyway, I just want to say hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at this event tonight, and just for listening to Trepepe Smith for a crash course on just a couple of tips for marketing and outreach. We have a lot of experience in the local government realm, which is very familiar to a lot of you. So we wanted to pass on some knowledge that might be helpful. Next slide. My name is Sarah Madsen. I'm a business analyst and graphic artist with Trepepe Smith, and I'm joined here tonight by Claire Torza, who is a junior business analyst. And we have been working on this project with the California Urban Forest Council for, I guess, since about June of last year now. So time has flown. I can't believe we're already at this point, but I'm excited. Next slide. Just wanted to give a little bit of an overview of what Trepepe Smith does. We are a public relations and marketing firm based in California, and we specialize in serving local governments, as I mentioned. We worked with about 120 different public agencies throughout the Western United States, most of them being in California cities and towns. Next slide. So, there's a smorgasbord of a lot of the things that we do in-house. We have a very talented team of individuals, basically a small army at this point with about 35 full-time employees. We have a lot of talent, like I said, ranging from graphic designers to photographers to crisis communication specialists and environmental communications, which is me. It's a big passion of mine, so that's why I'm excited to be working on this project. But sometimes we act as a stand-in for public information officers within the cities. Sometimes we act as just a supplement to those communications staff efforts in cities. So we're very familiar with the sphere, and we have some good knowledge to impart, which I'll start with on the next slide. So what you're seeing here is just the most classic formula for Trippepi Smith. When we talk about marketing, this is where we start. So what's good content for you? And I'm sorry, oh, lost my place there. Can you hear me still? It broke up for a minute.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so our equation here for communications is content times distribution equals impact. You know, if you have solid content but your distribution is lacking, you're lacking in impact no matter what. If you have, you know, weaker content but you have solid distribution, also lacking on impact. So we tried to make sure that both of those sides of the equation are really strong to actually make that impact. And we can go to the next slide, and I'm going to talk about some, Claire, my colleague, is going to talk about some best practices to actually achieve that impact.
All right, hello everyone. I'm gonna move, wait, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
We're good to go. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna move into some social media best practices that are a little more specific to this project and amplifying the urban forest. So next slide. Ready for the next slide?
It's there. You can't see it?
I'm there now, thank you. All right, so to begin, we suggest staying up to date. So Circle 4 and California Urban Forest Council puts out a monthly, well, we help them draft a monthly email newsletter. Each email includes 2 articles that we've written for each month that talk about different elements of amplifying the urban forest. So we touch on West Coast arborists, Taylor guitars, different community groups, and different aspects of the project. So if you subscribe to the monthly email newsletter, which you can find by going to investfromthegroundup.org and entering in all your information, then you'll stay up to date on the process and be able to read all the recent articles. And then we also suggest forwarding to anyone you might think is interested, forwarding that email that you think anyone would be interested in and encourage them to subscribe as well. The more people that subscribed to this email and know the information, the better. Our second tip for staying up to date is following California Urban Forest Council's social media accounts. So we have been putting posts out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we put out 1 post a week, again, just like the articles, on different content and elements of amplifying the urban forest. And we also, oh yes, I'll talk about that on the next slide. So next slide. All right, so share. As Sarah sort of touched upon, the best way to reach a bunch of people is to get involved, share these posts. So like I said, there'll be a post going out every week about different elements of amplifying the urban forest. And when you see these posts, we recommend and highly encourage you to share these and encourage other people from your organization to share these posts as well. You'll know it's an Amplifying the Urban Forest post because we always include the hashtag Amplifying the Urban Forest. Included on the slide is a post we have already done of a highlight for the City of Woodland and your community group. So you might actually see your own city and or your own community group being highlighted and touched upon. So especially when you see something like that, definitely highlight that. It'll be good to help us disperse the information.
I'll add to that a little bit. Sorry, Claire.
No, absolutely.
So California Urban Forest Council has a pretty robust network already, but the fact that this project in and of itself is spread out amongst 30 cities, you know, California, their reach goes so far, and with your guys' built up networks, most likely on your social media pages, you have actual local connections that need to be made essentially. So when you take this content that we're putting out through California Urban Forest Council's social media channels and you share it with your own, that takes it just so much further, and it actually takes it to the people that we're really trying to reach, the people who we're trying to get to volunteer and come out to these events. So it's very important, and I can't stress it enough, that we get some engagement from either the community groups or cities, you know, liking, commenting, sharing on these so that it stays at the top of you know, everyone's feeds through those algorithms of what's getting the most engagement, and it's just getting to the right eyeballs essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to the next slide, we're touching upon, so on top of sharing the posts we put out, we'd also, it's never a bad thing if cities or community groups want to develop posts of their own. So generally speaking here, we just have a a list of how popular posts go. So stories, that is Instagram stories, Facebook stories tend to perform better than videos, but videos tend to perform better than photos. Photos tend to perform better than links, and links tend to perform better than plain text. So if you as a community group or a city want to put together a post highlighting your involvement in amplifying the urban forest, we suggest you follow a guide like this. Put together an Instagram story if you can, gather a video if you can. If not, photos with text are your best options. And then we have a list here of tools that can help you create visually compelling graphics. Back at Trippepi Smith, we typically use Canva, but you can also, which is a free service, so you can get on there, use a template, create a nice post to a nice image to accompany your post, highlighting your involvement in amplifying the urban forest. But there are also other options such as Adobe Spark, and going on down the line where you can create an image to accompany a post, as well as resharing posts. Next slide.
All right, I will take it from here. So I just want to talk about media relations a little bit. Trippepi Smith will be doing most of the legwork on this front, but I just wanted to share a couple of tips just in case, like if a community group already has or a city has an existing relationship with media in the area, and you're just looking for some tips on how to maybe handle that relationship. I just want to go over a couple of things. So first of all, it's important that you know your messaging, like dead simple messaging. What are the 2 to 3 main things the audience should know about you or the event that's going on? Making sure you have that down pat is very important. Next, it's important to effectively communicate that message. You need to make sure that we're identifying, this is a little bit more general, but me speaking directly to this event, but just identifying the call to action for this event is volunteerism, and making sure that we have the date, time, location for your particular event, and just having those set aside so that like when you are communicating with journalists, they are being pulled in a million different directions, you're making their job as easy as possible. So getting into that a little bit more, just knowing the media that is in your area is extremely important. Not every journalist is created equal. Some journalists have specialties and different beats that they cover. So, if you are if you're hoping to get a nighttime, coverage of post-event, like we are, we'll be putting together some video news releases to go out post-event the same night. We're not going to be talking to an AM journalist, essentially. So just make sure you're researching the people that you're talking to. And some of them also have like specific areas of interest, like in environmentalism or sustainability. And those are the ones that you want to target because they're more apt to take on a story like this. Next is just establishing a process for responding to media inquiries. So if, for example, if we're reaching out to media as Trippepi Smith and we mentioned that this community group is participating in the day and they're the ones who are really the grassroots efforts and building the volunteer groups around this event, they may contact you. Maybe they're looking for some more information about your group, and just making sure that you have your little, I guess, elevator pitch, if you will, together is always a good idea. And I mean, this is not a controversial event by any means. So this point about comment, no comment, take it or leave it. It's just a fun fact about when you're communicating with journalists. All right, and then lastly, if you do decide to take the step of making a written pitch to the media, keep it short. Like I said earlier, journalists are being pulled in a million different directions. They have several deadlines to meet. So just making their job as easy as possible is going to bring you more success. So that is just a couple of tips that I have about media relations. If any of you do end up having like whether it's a really close contact, but you need some assistance in maybe approaching them, you can always reach out to Trippepi Smith, or if you need to go through any of the ladies here on this call, you can get in contact with Claire and I. Next slide. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. It's a bit short as far as marketing goes, but it's really specific to at least what you might be coming across with this event. But like I said, if you have any questions or need some tips or tricks, Claire and I are available to you. Please reach out. Please don't hesitate. And if there's any questions in the chat, I don't know, Lisette, if that's something that we wanted to do now or after. I don't know.
I think let's just go through the rest. There's not too many slides left, and then we can do questions.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Sarah and Claire, very much.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the other one. Excuse me 1 second. Don't look at my screen. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I do see some questions in the chat that we'll go over at the end, like how Nancy said, because there's some in here that are pretty important. So with Taylor guitars, as we've been mentioning and presenting to you all, there is a guitar that they made out of chamois ash, urban wood, sourced from WCA. So this is the guitar right here. And we will be holding, or they will be holding a drawing after the planting day. So this is why it's very important for us to capture that registration and the sign-in sheet the day of, to make sure that everyone who signs up did participate in the community event and then the tree planting and in the project effort, right? So then they can be eligible to win a Taylor guitar. And so these guitars have been very successful for Taylor, and they've been very popular, and so Taylor's very excited to have you all involved, and we hope one of you can win one of the guitars, and that would be really great. So we appreciate it. Next slide. And so for the Western chapter and all those certified arborists that will be helping us out the day of the planting event, they are skilled tree experts, and they'll be there for coaching and guidance. And many of you have much experience in tree planting as well, and we understand that, but it's always good to have as many resources, right? So if we have a lot of volunteer groups, or if because of COVID we do these teams, then it's good that we have extra skilled certified arborists there on call. So they will be very helpful for us, and we plan on having them available for all of you in wherever you're located. So that's very excited for us and for you all to bring together as many people in different sectors and in different areas together for one event for tree planting. So
Okie doke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Nancy here again. I'm just planting some seeds here that might be helpful for you as you get close, as we realize that you are actually getting lots of volunteers to sign up, and ways that you might want to utilize. And there's others, but this particular one has been very successful for us over the years. And that's literally coming up with a number of team leaders to help organize your volunteers. This is for planting day and planting day mainly. And so there'll be predetermined zones. We've got them color coded here. So as people sign up, or register, they are assigned to the blue team, the red team, green team, however you'd like. But a way for once after the planting demonstration has been completed, these leaders know where the blue team's trees are, and they escort them to those trees. So it's organized and not crazy. And this is just another sample. You can do these things any way you'd like, but those same team leaders would then know that the blue team leader will take them to the blue section, etc. But you would need to get more detailed and have lists of streets and addresses. But this is one way to organize things, and especially if you have a lot of volunteers, it helps things go much more easily and seamlessly. So these are just suggestions, but please consider a way to organize your groups on the ground for the day of the planting. Okay.
Okay, so through this grant, we are able to help out with California Relief memberships. So I do know that some of our community groups already have California Relief memberships. For those of you that do not, Lisette and I will discuss this opportunity to be part of the California Relief Network. And so this is a really great network. If you're not familiar with it, you can find many other community groups around your area, you know, establish a network, et cetera, for any future tree planting events or any future tree events that you all have. So this is a really great opportunity for everyone.
Yeah, it's a great network of groups from across California, and generally or mostly focused on urban and community forestry, but there are other interests as well that it isn't surprising that we're not just in silos when it comes to environmental movement. But yeah, so Lizette and Linda will work with you on that, and we have funding to help cover those costs if you're interested.
So one of the very useful websites that we have that Nancy and her team, the California Urban Forest Council, help design and update is the investfromthegroundup.org. And so what you can see here is essentially a countdown to the statewide planting day. So a lot of this, this link actually we try to include in our flyers to you all. And so it really helps kind of tie down, you know, the days and more information about it, and then everyone else involved. This is where we have the list of all of you all, of all the cities, and the registration links as well for those of you that have that option. And so if we go to the next slide, we can see more of the program goals, right? So we have here just some, you know, the volunteers, our partner cities, the number of trees we're aiming for, and then the most important thing, which is fighting climate change. So if you give this website a visit, you can also find other resources that we have here, and then other programs and other past projects if you want to know all the you know, past things that we have done in the past. And for anything in the future, we this is a great website as well, just to keep updated with what's going on near you as well. Okay, so this is our contact info. I know many of you already have Lisette and I contact info, and then for Nancy, if you have more questions with what she does and what she's involved with and all her great work as well, her contact info is here listed. And so, you know, we're just really thankful that all of you all have participated in this project thus far, and it's been quite challenging sometimes with COVID, and then with, you know, everyone's workload. I know everyone has been going through a lot these past months, and so we really appreciate all the work and for being in our meetings with Lisette and I monthly, and you know, participating in as much as you can. So I do have some questions in the box. Nancy, do you want me to go ahead and start with that?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll see if I can get our faces on the screen.
Okay, so I have one question from Pamela, and it says, can people under 18 participate if their parents sign a waiver? I'm reaching out to local high schools. So Nancy, if you want to elaborate on that in your previous experience as well. You
cut out for a second.
Okay.
What was it about a waiver?
Yeah, so the question is, can people under 18 participate if their parents sign a waiver for them?
Yes.
There we go.
And that will be, we're going to be further tightening up the registration pages over the next week or so with that kind of information for everybody. I'm looking to figure out how you can see us. I don't know. Can people see us?
I think so, Nancy. I know we're on the top because we're the panelists and the organizers. Let me see what other
I can't.
So, a lot of them are introduction. So I apologize that the chat option was not available. I do have a raised hand. I'm sorry, I'm kind of new. So, so Bill from Concord. Let me unmute you, Bill, and I think you can speak. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay.
Okay, I noted when you were showing the Marin protocol that walk-ins were not allowed. I assume that we can have walk-ins for this, though, because that could be a significant part of our participation.
Okay, so it's not something we can really control, but you know, it is potentially those folks will not have the information that is so important in advance. So certainly we can't prevent it, but it's much better if we can organize in advance.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll certainly try to, but I'm sure we're going to have some walk-ins.
Right.
We'll try to have like paper waivers, and for anyone that didn't register and just comes on and sees a community event, yeah, we'll see where we can manage with that, Bill, and have anything available. So like, you know, anyone that can see what's going on, they can be a part of it, and you know, if they follow the local COVID, if they have a mask and things like that, then.
Right. So this is not a vaccination only event. Is that correct?
Yeah.
No, this is the follow your local guidelines and restrictions, and moving with what changes in, you know, in
Okay.
these next weeks. So yeah,
All right. Thank you.
thank you. So if you have a question like that, you can go ahead and raise your hand and I can unmute you. In terms of the questions text box, I know many of you introduced yourselves on here. So we have, for those of you that cannot see an attendance list, we have the City of Orange, we have Nicole McDaniel, Jeannie Anderson with the Sunburst Youth Academy, we have John Moore from Santiago Creek Greenway Association, we have Clifton Maxwell from Puentes, and he's the Urban Forestry Project Manager. We have Kathleen Pishney from the Santee Park and Rec Committee. We have Denise Goldsby, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing right, for the Office of Neighborhoods Manager of the City of Palm Springs. And yeah, of course, thank you for being here tonight. We have Suzanne Potter for Scouts BSA Troop in La Quinta. We have Natasha with the City of Pittsburgh. We have Nathan Bloom with the City of Orange. We have Pamela, who had the question, but I'm not sure where she's, her organization is from. Listen, I don't know if you recognize her, Pamela. I don't think I'm in touch with her, but Isaac, thank you for being here, Pamela. We have Isaac on behalf of us, the West Coast Arbors, and then we have Brett from the City of Upton. So we appreciate everyone. And those of you that didn't introduce yourselves, thank you for being here tonight. Is there anything else, Nancy, that we would like to?
Yeah, I mean, I just, if I could, I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for what you're doing. I think this is amazing, what's coming together across California, and that you're all a part of something bigger. So you are all connected with these other cities and these other residents, and the ultimate great work that's going to happen on March 12th. And the messaging that's going to go out via Trippi Smith and other ways, so that hopefully there'll be some attention that is, you know, so important to be shined on to urban and community forestry and all the benefits that are derived from a healthy tree canopy for people and the community in general. So I look forward to meeting some of you. I really appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what Lizette and Linda are doing. They're working really hard. They're here for you. They're going to help you make this great, as are the rest of us. But, you know, I just need to say it's getting close. We've been working on this for a long time, and, you know, there was a big pause because of COVID, but our fingers are crossed that we're going to be able to move forward. And thank you. And feel free to reach out to us. We want to be helpful. Yes.
For those of our cities who could not attend, we'll have this recorded and we will share it. So please share that once we get that out. So anyone that was not able to attend.
Yeah, so Lizette and I will have our meetings and we'll see some of you soon. So if you have any other questions as well, then me and Lizette will follow up with you per month.
And once again, thank you to our partners and to our
for Claire and Sarah and all their help in this project and all the outreach, because it's tremendous. Okay, so if anyone else had their hand raised, you can do so right now. If not, then I think that is the end of tonight.
Great.
I will send out the recording. I'll send it out tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone.